For today's episode, we're going to be talking about that killer instinct that you do somewhat need in fight sports, but some people don't have enough of it. Or at least that's what I've been led to believe by the messages that I keep getting, where people go, Gabriel, had a fight and I just can't pull the trigger. Or I spar and I say sorry all the time when I touch somebody. We need to look at it from that perspective. How can we get more killer instinct? Or do we even need it to compete? But then we need to look at the other side. The people who have so much killer instinct, so much aggression, that I feel it might be detrimental to their fight game. We're going to look at these two opposing sides, and I'm going to tell you a bit about my history feeling like I didn't have enough of it and what I've managed to do to bring it out a little bit more. So as I mentioned, this is a common question that I have been receiving quite a bit over the last 6 months, and I know this topic is not for everybody. Some people are not competing, but whether you're competing or not, I think it's still something that you need to hear because, again, we don't want to go to the gym and feel bad every time we touch somebody. Boom. Oh, I'm sorry. Land a kick. Oh, I'm sorry. What I realized, or more so what I was actually taught by my dad about 6-7 years ago, I want to say. He came to me and he said, when you're in the fight, do you think your opponent will have any issue with knocking you out, breaking your nose, hurting you as bad as they can? I went, no, of course not. I know what they're there to do. And he said, well, why aren't you willing to do that? And I kind of went, oh, right. So the way that I've wrapped my head around I can be a little bit more aggressive, I can hurt people, is recognizing that they are out to hurt me. And it just balances the scale a little bit more. But let's go back a long time ago, long time ago, and let's talk about my killer instinct versus my brother's killer instinct and how we are very different. If I was in the gym and I was sparring and somebody tagged me, I would go, okay, they got me. I'm going to up the pace a little bit. I'll get them back, but I'm not going to try and hurt them. Whereas if my brother got tagged, I would see it. I would see it in his eyes. It would just be like, boom. And then he would go after people. He was still fairly nice. Like he wouldn't try and knock them out or something, but he would tag them. He would drop them with body shots or chop their legs until they buckled. And he just naturally had that. Where does it become an issue having too much killer instinct? In my opinion, we see fighters like Badr Hari, guys like that who just go in and they just look like they want to murder their opponent when they get tagged or something doesn't go their way. My brother was kind of like that, and when I would corner him, I would always get a little nervous because eventually somebody would tag him and then it would just be like, oh, here he goes. And it would be like the hunt is on. And while that is very admirable and it works very often in fights, and he had a 10-0 record when he decided to stop, so it worked for him. But when you get to the level you're fighting people who are as good as you, or not quite as good as you, or even a little better than you, that killer instinct to me takes you out of that mindset where you can be more logical. And when we look at the absolute best fighters in the world, Giorgio Petrosian, Tension, GSP, Demetrius Johnson, Floyd Mayweather, these guys who have just stood out so much in their sport with amazing records, they have that, yes, I will knock you out, but they'll do it in the right moments. They will not push it. They will not let their emotion take charge. And if you have too much killer instinct, I think it could possibly hurt you and you could end up eventually getting KO'd for being overly aggressive. In fact, I would bet to you that anybody with raw killer instinct that you can think of right off the top of your head, go and see if you can find a fight with them where they get KO'd. It probably exists. Whereas some fighters don't get KO'd because they are more logical. That's just my thought process, at least. So how do we train this? If you are somebody who lacks that killer instinct, you feel bad. And I did feel bad for many years as I fought. And very often if I did hurt somebody, I would not continue to go. I would go, oh, I'll win on points, that's fine. But how do we develop it? Well, the very first thing is, like I already said, we take a moment and we recognize that if I'm in the gym and somebody's trying to hit me hard, maybe it's okay that I hit them decently hard back. If I'm in a fight and somebody's trying to KO me, maybe I should recognize it's okay to KO them. If you're so opposed to that idea, you just have to face the fact that maybe this fight sport stuff is not for you. But you still might go, oh, I really want to do it. I just don't have that killer instinct. What can we do to train? It's not as simple as just going to the gym and hitting a bag. Not as simple as that. You need to really engage your brain and visualize. And I think that is the big difference between just going to the gym and doing your normal thing and continually feeling bad for the next couple of years, as opposed to somebody who goes, jumps on the bag and goes, okay, this bag right now is going to be a person. I'm going to make this a match. And I'm going to imagine, I'm moving around, I throw some shots, they throw some shots, then I slip and boom, I rock them. And instead of feeling bad and backing off, now I go on the hunt. And you play those motions out, whether it be bag work, pad work, shadow boxing, and you see if you can come to terms with it. Again, if you can't, maybe not the best sport for you, because the sport does involve violence and that is part of it. Of course, you can do other things like ask your sparring partner sometimes, get a bigger sparring partner, a more advanced sparring partner. And I will do this all the time with my students. I'll say, I want you guys to try and KO me. Hit me as hard as you want, be as mean as you want. And if I was trying to work that killer instinct in them, I would say, what I'm going to do a couple of times is feign an injury. Like maybe you throw a low kick and I'm going to buckle. You take advantage of that. And I have done this with somebody in the past, actually. I'd be like, okay, if I wince, I want you to get after that body shot. And I would actually pretend getting knocked down or pretend getting low kick KO'd. And I think this is good practice. Everything can be practiced. And that would be the way I would start going about this. Of course, sitting at home and you visualize going to sparring and actually tagging somebody and not apologizing. That's great practice too. Just thinking about the next time I throw a jab and it connects to somebody's nose and I see them like, oh, and you can tell they're not happy about it. Poker face. Now, normally we use the poker face when it's time for us to stop our opponent from knowing we're injured, or they landed a nice clean shot. That's when we use it. But maybe you need to use it sometimes as well when you're the one landing the shots, if you're somebody who naturally feels bad. Now let's say you have killer instinct all over the place, and you recognize that maybe it's not great to have that kind of, I want to crush everybody every time, and there are downsides to that. How do we go about training that? Well, the very first thing that I think you should be doing is learning to take a little step back, right? You're in sparring. You hit somebody in the body. You know they're hurt. Don't jump on them. Take a second, move around a little bit. Just be like, okay, if this was the fight, maybe I want that extra moment or two. When you're on the pads and you're crashing shots in, sometimes just back off a little bit. Again, take that moment, bounce around. Don't make yourself charge and charge and charge. Again, there's nothing crazy bad about that killer instinct. It's a gift. It's kind of like somebody being really gritty, being able to take punishment. Some people are naturally very tough. You want that. God-given, as they say. If you have this killer instinct, that's great. But again, if you get clipped and then that fire lights up and you just charge forward but you're still hurt, that's when it's bad. So play around when you're sparring. If somebody touches you, back up, take a moment. Be like, oh yeah, if this was the fight and they were in fight gloves and that landed an inch lower, that could have really hurt me. And I have to learn to calm. I have to learn to calm myself, slow down, not rush it. You can control that instinct and then release it when necessary. I think that is when you're going to have the best of both worlds. So this is my opinion on the subject. It's not a perfect system trying to develop exactly what you need. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people are going to train this. Some people will just go, oh, it is what it is. I recognize that I lacked it a little bit, and I have trained on how to be a little bit meaner and go after people a little bit more, but it's still naturally, it's not what I do. I will hurt people in fights, and it'll take me a moment or two to be like, oh, I should have jumped on that. I should have just gone for it. But you can still make it work. Do you have to have that killer instinct to win fights, to be a champion? No, I don't think naturally you do. I think bit by bit it can come out, and you can go, I'm a more controlled fighter than those people with that raw instinct, but because of that, I'm gonna be somebody who doesn't get hit. Or if I do get hit, I'm gonna be very safe. I'm not gonna get KO'd because of that. And bit by bit, the more you spar, the more you practice hitting things, the more you visualize your bag as an actual person and try to not feel bad about it, that's when it really starts to come out, and you'll be able to hunt people a little bit more. And again, if it's not for you, maybe fighting's not the thing that you should be doing. Maybe you should be going in and doing the fun sparring sessions. Unless you hurt somebody dramatically in sparring, don't spend too much time apologizing. I just know from my point of view as somebody, when I get hit and somebody's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't worry about it. I stepped in here knowing what I was getting into. If you knock somebody down, of course, check on them. Don't be a jerk. But just touching somebody to the head and then going, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Don't have to do it. You're hearing it from me. You really don't have to. So let's call it there, guys. I hope this helps you on that path to just developing a little bit more killer instinct or a little bit less killer instinct. And it's all good stuff for you on the trajectory for your, whether it be amateur career, your martial arts journey, or leading into professional. I'll see you guys back here very soon.